myself, I graduated here from Florence in 1955. I, like a lot of you, played football, baseball, and just about everything we could get our hands on that was round. Anything that I can think of that brings us all closer together as a family of Florence Gophers is, as I look out here, I see a who's who of Florence Gophers. I see many faces that I played ball with, some that I followed after they played, like my brother Joe and my brother Ben. But also I got to see a lot of you guys play ball after I graduated and left home and went out in the world and then came back for holidays, and I saw a lot of you play ball. And believe me, you guys were good ball players. Because of that, a lot of you are here in the Hall of Fame. My brother's family was not able to attend, and I feel real bad for that. They had other prior commitments. And I say that because my brother Joe would have loved to have been here himself. He was the ultimate Florence Gopher. Believe me, he really was. I've known Joe all these years, and we would be around people, architects and engineers in Los Angeles, and the name Florence Gophers always came up. It was just part of his life. Florence was part of his life. Sports was part of his life. I'm joined this evening to be very fortunate to have some of Brother Joe's favorite fans and cheerleader. First off, my 101-year-old mother, who is seated over here. My sister Margie and her husband Louis, also on the same table. My brother Benny, who was an inductee last year, and his wife Terry. And also here on this table, a host of nieces and nephews who love my brother so much. Very unexpectedly, roughly 3 years ago, we lost my brother to an illness that just got him, and the doctors didn't have enough time to really get him to where they could bring him back, and died very unexpectedly. And believe me, we all miss him so much. We lost a real good Florence Gopher when he passed away. And I really mean that. In sports, my brother Joe really excelled as a 3-year letterman in football, track, and baseball. In football, he was one heck of a ball player. He was an all-state center first string. He went and played at the all-star football game in Flagstaff along with my brother Ben. The thing about Joe, he was also a linebacker all-state. And Joe was gifted of having the mentality of a Earl Lacker and a Dick Butkus. That's how hard he played. The guy never stopped, never stopped. He had a motto when he played football, and he learned that from Coach Pritchard. I'll never forget. He used to say, what you do in practice is what you do in a ball game, which meant he went 100% in practice, and he did the same thing at every ball game. Never stopped. He was relentless. In baseball, he was a fairly good pitcher. He didn't have a good fastball, but he had a good changeup. He was also a fairly good second baseman for a heavy man, which means he was very light on his feet. He threw the shot put and the discus and was fairly good at it. The other thing that he was really good at as a sport, although we didn't do that in school, he loved to fish. That was one of his greatest hobbies. For years and years, we would go up in the mountains and go fishing. There's a lot of people here in the crowd that have done that with my brother Joe and myself. Benny as well, and Louie. Joe was the ultimate sports fan. He had not CNN, but ESPN almost 24 hours a day in his house. His wife didn't like it, but this guy could tell you who won last week's game, who's going to win next week's game. He was quite a sportsman. Academically, Joe belonged to the Honor Society. He was a student body president. He attended Boys State in Flagstaff. He graduated salutatorium. After high school, he went to University of Arizona and graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. He he left Florence and Arizona to the big city lights of Los Angeles, where he wanted to find his own fame, and he did. He turned out to be a very successful design mechanical engineer and had a business all his life until he passed away just 3 years ago. You know, although he left Florence, the one thing that never left Florence in him was his heart. His heart was always here, never left Florence. After Joe's death, and he was laid to rest in Los Angeles, a friend of his, an admirer of his, came to me at Margie's restaurant and felt so bad that Joe was not laid to rest in Florence. And I said, why do you feel so bad about this? Her response was, he belonged to Florence, not to Los Angeles. Again, on behalf of Joe's family and friends, thank you for Joe's induction. He is truly worth of the honor you bestowed on him. Thank you. Ben, you want to bring Mom? And Margie, you want to come with him? Okay.
You want me to take it? Josh will do it. I'm not good at that.
Mom's not as fast as she used to be. And I say that because when I was a kid, she used to run after me to get to me. And she could run. She's also a real Florence golfer. I don't think she missed any of the ball games that we played in, believe me.
So I'd like to present this plaque to Joe's mother, Clara Jimenez.
Just a few words, remembering all the past that I had with my brother Joe. We grew up here, played sports together 4 years, 8 years with grade school. The things I remember was just, what's that?
Well, I asked my mom, she said, "Hey, Benny."
she remembered me.
She loves you, man.
The thing I remember mostly was our dedication to high school playing sports. You know, we just went at it hard because in those days we were a small school. Of course, it's not as small as it used to be, but we struggled to beat the big teams from Tempe, Coolidge, and of course the greatest thing was that when we beat our 4 years there, we beat Coolidge 3 years, so we were real happy about that. But anyway, when we went to the All-Star game, we were going to get a bus like most kids around the area were going to Flagstaff in those years. But our coach just turned and says, you guys aren't going to go bus. Where else are we going to go? We're going to go to Phoenix. We'll fly you directly from Phoenix to Flagstaff. And when we got there, I said to my brother, what are we doing here, flying? Nobody flies around, especially in those times of years. So that to us was a big inspiration of the dedication that Florence High School did for us, you know, and we'll never forget it, you know. So to this day, that's one of the main things I never forget. But the only thing I still, out of that whole thing, after all that, I came back to Florence without my jacket that my mother had just bought me because it was a cold in Flagstaff. And she said, where's the jacket? I left at the airport. So this day I'll never forget. So anyway, just thanks everybody for being to this day. Thank you very much.